Strap in and get ready. This is the Wild Will Throwdown. We're your all-access pass to the world of short track racing, covering everything from regional results to national highlights. Each episode, we dive into upcoming schedules and bring you exclusive interviews with special guests from the heart of the motorsports industry. Now, here is your host, Wild Will Greenwell.
Welcome, everyone, to the Wild Will Throwdown season number 5, supporting Indy Warrior Partnership. My name is Will Greenwell, and we are back this week. Brand new equipment to kick it off here in this beautiful week of May. My name is Will Greenwell, the host, and now on the hotline, the co-hosts, yes, plural too, Mr. Hawk, Harold Adams, and Young Money Dalton Connor. And Harold Adams, here we go. We are in the middle of May, my friend.
Yeah, middle of May, weather's warming up, and we're hoping to stay dry because we're getting into some big races coming up.
Yeah, no doubt. And Dalton, I know you are excited this weekend. You're going to be getting the Outlaw Figure 8 car out. I know you're excited.
Yeah, I ran down there last year for the Midwestern in my dad's Figure 8 car, but we didn't take mine, so I'm in a new car, but yeah, I'm excited to get out there and try it.
No doubt. And this week, we're going to have basically a lot to talk about with the Midwestern coming up. That is the 60th running of the Midwestern this weekend at Sportsdrome Speedway. We'll have a lot on that. That is the longest running figure 8 race in the country as of today. Still 60 years this weekend, so very exciting, guys. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to jump into the topic of the week this week. And gentlemen, this is something I've been thinking about for quite a while, and it's something that hasn't been really brought up on this show a lot, and that is the two words of engine builders. Now, the reason I say engine builders is because I want to jump into a lot of categories within the topic of the week, engine builders. We see a lot of different engine builders out there. We see Travis Kern Racing engines. We see Spec Racing engines. We have B&R Speed Shop. We have, and I'm missing a lot of engine builders. And Dalton can touch on that and everything else. But, gentlemen, the reason I'm bringing this up is the question lies with how much pressure does an engine builder have? Because you're trying to sell your product, and what better way to sell your product than to have good results on the racetrack? So, Dalton, I'm going to let you start this week because you are a competitor. When you race an engine inside of your car at a racetrack and you're thinking your engine builders and all of that stuff, how much pressure really does an engine builder have on him for you to perform at the top level?
I'm sure a lot, right? I know if I was building engines, I'd want them to perform because that's how you sell them. I have two older guys, Danny Akery and Lyle Johnson, that have built mine for four pushing 5 years now. And we've really never had many problems out of it. It's kind of fitting that you brought this up because I led at Anderson Speedway this past weekend. I started on pole because I qualified quick time. And 40-lap feature, I led 38 of the 40 laps, had a half-track lead, and a brand-new motor this year. That was the third race on it, and it just locked up coming to the white flag. So it cost me a race, and it was spring championship at Anderson, so it was double points night. So it costed me a championship or a pretty good shot at a championship. I went in points leader by 1 point, and I came out about 50 points down, probably about 5th or 6th. So it hurts, but they feel a lot of pressure. I mean, I ran B&R engines. I've ran, like I said, Danny Akery, Lyle Johnson. I've ran a spec motor. I've ran Hogue. I believe they're up in northern Indiana, maybe Michigan.
Okay.
I think Michigan, actually. But there's a lot of them. I mean, countless, I guess you could say. Some people build their own. I know there's the Cumbies. They race modifieds locally around here,
Yep.
Indiana area. And they build their own engines. They just build a 331 for Anderson Speedway. So there's a lot of options. But yeah, a lot of pressure because that's how you sell your product. I mean, you see like Mason Hadley, Mark Tunney, we can talk about McGonigal. Mason has a spec, but Mark, hell, I don't think he's ever had a problem out of a McGonigal motor, and he runs strong everywhere. Speedrome, I mean, he was pulling eyeballs out of their heads at Freedom Factory, and that's a huge track. So,
and he's the defending champion of the Midwestern, so.
Yep, there you go. So, I mean, he's not short of horsepower. Let's just say that. So, in McGonigal, they have a lot of good engines out there. Super late models. I know they're big into super late model stuff. Oval. So yeah, a lot of pressure for engine builders.
No doubt. Now, Harold Adams, I'll go to you as Dalton's getting pulled over right now. Talking about everything that's happened.
Not me. I'm not getting pulled over. I'm a safe driver.
Okay. Let's move on. Harold Adams, talking about you back in the 90s racing, did you guys emphasize engine builders a lot, or did you kind of just run what it came with?
Yeah, I used to run the old Dromers, like the old stock bombers and stuff. And I know some of them guys would kind of do their own little work and stuff. I just had, a friend of mine just kind of freshen up my motors. But as you're saying, though, about, I was thinking about, like the performance of some of those guys in the street stocks and the modifieds and stuff. Some of them guys, like, they blow up or something, and you'd hear some rumblings, kind of behind the scene of like, hey, who built that guy's motor?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like you said, the reputation is there. So it's like, hey, whose motor blew up? And so that was always a big thing. Of course, B&R, Murray, he's been around forever. And so,
oh, goodness,
yes.
In
this area, he has just kind of dominated the scene, if you will.
Yeah, he has. And this is the reason I bring this up, because you know what? I was just thinking about some of the interviews that I've did over the years, 8 years now. And the gentleman, whoever is in in Victory Lane with me, would always say, hey, I want to thank my engine builder. We hear Travis Kern a lot because of Salem, and he works at Salem as an official. We hear of Spec Racing Engines. They are just about literally 3 miles from my wife and I's dental clinic down here in Huntingburg, Indiana. And then we hear about McGonigal, obviously Mark Tunney, Spec Racing Engines, Mason and Jesse. I know in Outlaw Figure 8 competition run a Spec Racing engine. And then we talked about, B&R Speed Shop and what they do. And, they think they're engine builder in Victory Lane. But like you said, how many times at a racetrack have we seen, and I'm not calling any engine builder out, have we seen a car blow up, lose a power plant, as I like to call it, going down in turn 1 and 2? I know, Harold, you have called many races with me. How many times have we seen that? And you're like, ooh, who built that engine?
Yeah, I know. It's always kind of wondering. You hear, like I say, rumblings between the pit people. A lot of times people back there kind of wonder, and then I've even heard, some bad raps on that and transmission builders too, because like those blow up a lot.
Yeah.
Seems like there for a while he's getting that. And like one guy would be like, man, such and such rebuilt this and now it blew up again. I ain't going back to him.
Exactly. And yeah, this could be about mechanical anything. I mean, shocks, springs, transmissions, tires, axles. Fuck. I mean, well, I said the F word on air. Yeah, you can have a lot of different things happen to your race car. And you know what? What is the best way to sell your product? Well, results on the racetrack. And, I know, Dalton, I know you've had mechanical issues throughout your career. I'm sure it happens with everything, right? The quality of tire, the shocks, the springs, the transmission, the engine, the components of the engine. I'm sure that happens, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's when you really break down a race car, no matter what car it is, I mean, no matter what class, figure 8, front wheel drive, Ford, street stock, it doesn't matter, modified. It's a lot of moving pieces that have to work together to make it run good. And yeah, like you said, it could be any mechanical thing, not just engines. I mean, shocks. I've always said shocks are one of the biggest deals on a race car. So yeah, engine, obviously, sure, you need the engine to run strong, but shocks, transmission, you see a lot of people lock up transmissions and stuff, especially in like Crown Vics and stuff. So it's part of it, but that's why you got to freshen up your stuff every now and then.
That's it. And you know what? This is just a quick topic of the week I wanted to cover this week because it is something to look at. As us as announcers or us as drivers, talking about Dalton, you have to think about what you're running and how many competitors are out there, because these engine builders have a lot more competitors than they did 20 years ago. These shocks and springs manufacturers, one Bilstein shocks, they're one of the most common ones in dirt racing now, I know. Then, of course, you talk about the chassis builders, the tire, the axles. I mean, everything is a business on that race car. And to perform at the top level, yes, you're going to pay a little more, but is it better quality? That's to be seen on some of these things. So, yes, that's what we're going to cover in the topic of the week. We're going to take a short little break here. Thank our marketing partners here in 2026. Hard to believe we are already halfway through the month of May. And then when we come back, we'll have the man himself, the driver of the number C4, going for the 60th annual Midwestern, who, might I mind you, he picked up the only street stock win in 2002, 20 years to the day, picked up the outlaw win in 2022. So we're going to talk to him about that as well. Mr. Calvin Crain next here on the Wild Will Throwdown. Race fans, in 2026, we celebrate 5 years of the podcast, The Wild Will Throwdown. And in 2026, we cannot thank our great marketing partners for what they do for us, including the Salem Speedway, the Sportstrom Speedway, KKR, Indianapolis Speedrome, Elite Outdoor Services, Shears Drain Cleaning, Kentucky Clutch and Performance, Forklift Rescue, Diesel Boys, Park Fans, Hoosier Auto Racing Fans, Flag to Flag Media, Roosters, Marshall Jaggers Racing, Derby City Recycling, Polk Brothers Racing, John McLaren Motorsports, Shane Wilson Lawn Care, Sean Smith Race Cars, Circle City Raceway, Victory Lane Frenchies, Oink Incorporated, Hadley Towing and Recovery, Code 3 Roofing, KJ Enterprises, The Smile Center, Clap Mowing and Landscaping, LaFever's Curbing, El Tarasco Mexican Restaurant, and S&R Towing. We cannot thank our beautiful marketing partners enough for their success and their support in 2026. And welcome back to the Wild Will Throwdown season number 5. And now on the hotline, a driver that I grew up watching and, of course, looking for a return here at the Midwestern coming up for the 60th edition. He is Mr. Calvin Crain, the driver of the number C4. And Calvin, thanks for taking the time to chat with us this week.
Oh, no problem. Look forward to it. Look forward to getting down the track and doing a little racing.
Well, Calvin, let's talk about it. I know us in the region really know you and where you come from in racing background, but give our listeners who don't know much about the C4, the 4 behind it, how you got started in motorsports.
Well, my father run back in the 60s and 70s and so forth, so I kind of somewhat grew up around it, watching all the old guys. I mean, all the way back to Richie Bissey, Paul McNear, Jim Taylor, Smokey Bishop, Esler Strong. I mean, I can go on and on as a kid. And as I kind of went along in life, I really didn't have racing on my mind as much as others. But as I started getting a little older, I did do a little racing at the original Louisville Fairgrounds.
Yes.
And it was actually, I started out in a demo derby. I was like 16, 17 years old. And I got down about 5 cars and I got my bell rung. And I said, I'll never do that again, because back then they gave you the whole track.
Sure.
So it was pretty violent compared to what it is today. But with the liability today, I can understand it being cut back.
Sure. So then, of course, when I grew up at the Louisville Speedway, which was post Fairgrounds Speedway, obviously, not counting Charlestown or Sportstrom or whatnot, where I grew up. I talked to my buddies about this. It was a treat going to the racetrack on Friday nights, kind of watching you, Raymond Johnson versus the Harmons. It kind of that storyline build up wrestling kind of feel, because I always compare that moment to wrestling, right? Because it was the next week's storylines that carried over.
Right.
So how did that all become? I mean, Louisville Speedway, you guys in the street stock figure 8, what a car count they had back then.
Oh Lord. I remember my first race. I didn't start the season out. It had done started. So when I started, they did them by alphabetical. You had the A, B, C, and D. Well, I actually started in the D.
Wow.
And I started in the D, and I won the first night. I won the first night out. So I come back, I'm in the C, I win the C. So the next week I come back, I'm in the B. I win the B. So I won the first 3 weeks. Well, when I come back the 4th week, I was starting towards the tail of the B. Well, they had some scratches in the A, which put me on the pole of the A.
Wow.
So I got moved me up to the pole of the A, and I ended up winning. So I won the A. So I won my first 4. But in that A, I never forget. That's when Danny Blackwell was pretty dominant over there. The night I won the A, he was beating on my bumper when I went across the line. Yeah, I remember that to this day.
I
Sure
tell you
do.
what. So now talk about how, of course, you and Raymond Johnson actually hooked up.
Uh-huh. Well, Raymond, we were fierce competitors early on. I had went over and run at the Drome at the time, and Raymond was kind of the thing, and I was kind of new, and kind of some people didn't know me, and uh, I remember, I think the first night I knocked his back bumper off.
Wow.
And that kind of started somewhat of a little rivalry. and Bud, he later on said, well, at least he went. At least he made his mind up, because when you can get 2 people not sure what to do,
Sure.
bad things can happen. And for that reason, a lot of times I'm my own worst enemy, because when they say, are you going to go? Well, just always remember, I'm going to go. And of course, using that kind of thought process, it'll backfire on you, and
Sure.
it's backfired on me many a times. But I'm one of those kind of guys. I wasn't much of a point racer. I won some track championships, but I was more about winning that night. I'm more about winning than trying to finish, and which is fine. Some people want a point race, and that's fine. There's a place for it, but I just never was about that. I always wanted to win at the time.
Sure. Absolutely. You didn't see the big picture. You wanted to win just right there in that moment.
Yeah, because I always looked at it a lot of times as much as we like to do it, and it's nice accolades and so forth. But you could probably go 2 miles from the track and tell somebody you were a track championship at so and so, and they wouldn't know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Which
100%.
is okay, but your peers and stuff, it's important for that. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not. And then, of course, we talk about, moving on up. There's Sportsdrome after, of course, Louisville Speedway went down in 2001, I believe. And then Sportsdrome Speedway really picked up a lot of people who competed over there full-time regularly. And then now I get Louisville Motor Speedway back in the day. Friday night was primarily figure 8, and Saturday night you guys were off. So you got to go to Sportsdrome, which was neat.
Right.
And I loved the schedule then because, Louisville was primarily oval on Saturdays with the sportsmen's and late models and all that fun stuff.
Sure.
So now...
Sure.
Moving to the big picture, the Midwestern here, the 60th annual. It's pretty unbelievable that this is still the longest running figure 8 race in the country to me. And this weekend, we're going to have a lot of veterans, not just competing, but actually coming back to get a plaque, which is really cool. All the former winners that are still out there. What does it mean to you to hop back into this car and get back out here to Sportsdrome during the 60th rendition?
Oh, I mean, I look forward to it, just to be, at my age, and just to be, being able to do it physically and mentally. I'm fortunate that I'm a pretty active person, so I'm in pretty good shape for my age. And I'm sure I'm just like anybody else. I'm sure I'm not what I once was, but that's okay. And to get out there and compete with these guys, all through the years, all the way back in the 90s and up into today and so forth, the competition is just so friggin' tough nowadays. I mean, it was tough back then too, at that level. You had, like you said, you had the Harmons, like Chris and Mark and them. They were all just they were hard guys to beat. Raymond was hard to beat, but that was its time. And as it went along here, of course, all the boys up north, all the Tunney family.
Yeah.
I mean, their fathers, they're Bill and all them guys. I mean, they were always kind of ahead of everybody. And I wanted to run Outlaws early on, but I couldn't really at the time. Huey Darnell, which kept up my car all the time, him and Jim French. Well, Huey just didn't have the time. You know, he had the time to do it locally, but he wasn't too much into traveling.
Sure. Understood.
And so later on we decided just to go up there and start running it. And I really wish I would have started when I was younger at the time, but it is what it is, you know. So I've enjoyed it up to this point.
Well, you should have. And, you know, here, interesting stats, two interesting stats, actually. One, you're the oldest gentleman to win an Outlaw Figure 8 race still to this day. But here's another stat that I really liked. You're the only one 20 years apart to win 2002 in the street stock and then 2022 in the Outlaw. How does that feel?
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's kind of telling your age somewhat.
It is, but hey.
That'd be a tough stat to beat.
Well, hey, you could probably do it again, right, this weekend?
Yeah, why not? You know, why not? Weirder things have happened in life. That's for daggone sure.
Oh man, Calvin, I tell you, it's great memories of this race community, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is. It is. You know, there's moments. You know, we all get heated, and that's just what it is. I mean, that's just competition. That's if you don't get an attitude here or there, then you know what, you probably shouldn't be there, because you just got to be competitive. I just think it takes a competitive person. It doesn't make them a bad person just because they get a little attitude. And I've been wrong many a time, I'm sure, just like others have been wrong. But just willing to admit that you're wrong is more important than the deal itself, you know.
So what are you looking at for most this weekend? I know you're going to see a lot of people you've seen before. I know we act like you've been retired for 20 years. I know.
Yeah.
But what are you looking forward to getting back on the track with the, you know what, I kind of titled this race, if you give it a title, yes, it's the Midwestern, obviously. Yes, it's 60th annual. But I always say the young meeting the veterans, because there's a lot of young talent this weekend. Yeah. And I'm not even considering Mark, Ben, Austin, and Jesse young anymore, right? So they're almost 40.
Right. Yeah, they're veterans in their own right. Yes. You know, you're exactly right. You're exactly right.
But now you have Robbie Greenwell. You have Kevin Brooks, who's won the last two races at the Speedrome. You have, of course, our co-host, Dalton Connor. But here's an interesting one. Now you have family. Mr. Lavin Crain, who just purchased it. Now, I'm not saying he's racing this weekend. I'm just saying in the outlaw ranks.
Right.
You know, the news broke on that a little sooner for some people. The rumor got out, and of course, it was made official. But how does that make you feel, having another Crain in the outlaw ranks?
That's good to carry on tradition. You know, Levin's my nephew.
Yep.
And you know, he'll learn. He'll figure it out. It just, you know, it takes seat time. It takes a little. I told him a little give and take. You got to have a little give and take. It ain't just, you know, to the floor. It just don't work like that. You'll be going off on the hook.
Yes.
But you know, and like you're talking to veterans, you know, all them tenant boys, they're all veterans now.
It's amazing.
I mean, they're all veterans. I remember, you know, when I say I run with their uncles and their fathers. I mean, that's saying something. And they're not only are they good racers, or you know, they're good people.
They are.
And that's more important than a lot of it. That's where we all get caught up into the moment. And at the end of the day, we all go home to families. And I know some are out there doing it and try to do it. I've seen it. They're just trying to buy a set of tires to race, you know, just trying to get by, especially as expensive as things have gotten.
Sure.
And I've been there. It's been years ago, but I've been there. I know what it's like. I look back, I remember in the late 90s and early 2000s, you know, I can remember one year I won about $30-something thousand. And you think, well, that'd be a lot of money in today's time, much less back then. But back then, you know, we had $42 tires.
Bingo.
You know, we had $3 racing fuel.
Not 14 to 15, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I actually had to pay taxes on it. It wasn't a write-off the way it is today.
That's awesome.
I mean, but yeah, things have changed, and but what hadn't changed is just the race and just the competitiveness. These guys, they're really tough. They're hard to beat, and sometimes just running with them is an accomplishment in its own right. But yeah, I look forward to it. If I didn't think I could do it, I wouldn't be there. I ain't much of just participating. I'm not going to say I'm going to set the world on fire, but I look at it as riding a bike. Just get out there and go.
Now the question is next. I'm going to ask you. I have to ask this question. We have the 50th 3-hour coming up in September. Is there a little bit of chance that we can see Calvin Crain in the 50th?
Oh yeah, I plan on being there.
There you go.
I mean, I kind of look at this race as, I'm gonna run a few races, kind of get acclimated back to it and so forth. But we're driving one of Jimmy's French's car.
Yeah,
we haven't had it in a while. We're on small tires, my understanding. And then I think the 3-hour is, I thought they were doing big tires, the meets, and that's what I kind of got excited about that, only to find out that they're really not doing that. So
a little bit of a letdown for you.
Yeah, it was what it is. We've got a big old nasty motor in the car, so most likely that needs to come out. Other than that, you're out there like using a goose egg under your feet, just trying to keep hooked up. And I'm sure that's what I'll go through this weekend. But that's fine. We're going to do some tuning and just see if we can head in the right direction.
Well, before we let you go on this episode, is there any certain memory out of all of the years that you've raced that really sticks out to you as one of the best memories you have in racing?
You wouldn't think it. Some people don't, especially the people that see me running, the last 15, 20 years of my life, they probably hadn't really seen me do a whole lot. But, early on, we won a lot. We won a lot of the early Triple Crown races at Louisville. And then it's a different kind of car. It was a lot of rules. The rules were pretty strict. I can remember one time going over to the Drome on a Saturday night, and we brought our Louisville car, and it was a big race over there. And we were kind of underpowered compared to their cars at the time. We were all running automatics. They're running like 3 speeds, and they ain't got no restriction on their motor. We're running just a 350 cubic inch. You couldn't stroke up or down, flat top. No headers, cast iron intakes, and they've got all these big motors. And I can remember the announcer talking about me and when I qualified. He said, "Well, he runs good at Louisville, but it's a little different deal over here."
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Well, that night we won.
Ooh.
And we won, and the track got real slick, and all that power them guys had didn't do them any good. There was down at the far end, down in let me see, that would be considered 4. There was a spring there. They used to water just creep out of that spring, and there had been a lot of rain that week, so that water would be creeping out during the race. And at the time, I remember Quentin Cummins was behind me, and we'd have a restart, and I'd slow him down so slow. I'd try to time it where I'd get him in that water, and I'd take off, and he'd be back there just going nowhere. I'd have a half a straightaway before he could get hooked up. And after about 4 restarts, finally he couldn't take it no more. There was like 2 to go, so it's basically green, white, checkered. And we come around there, and I set him up there, and he takes off. And they drop the green. He's 2 car lengths in front of me. We run on around there, and they give the white, and I'm like, "Oh, he can't do this." We come on around, they drop the checkered, and I'm like, that's a bunch of BS. Well, they ended up DQing him.
So I could just see what you were saying underneath of that helmet.
Yeah. I was like, what the hell? I'm waiting for the caution, and it never came. But yeah, that was pretty memorable because I didn't have the fastest car. I just had the best strategy, and it worked out.
It worked out in your favor,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I can also remember over there me and the Iron Man, and it was one of the first. It might have been the first few years of it. I can remember after that big long race, me and Jim Barry drag racing to the checker flag, and me winning by maybe, you know, a bumper.
Wow,
that
that's
that was
amazing.
that was pretty memorable.
Now, was
So I
this
remember
before
little things.
transponders?
Yes, I believe it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I was
yeah, it
thinking.
was early on. But
Now, see,
yeah,
Calvin, if that would have happened today, it would kind of depend on where your transponder was placed, really, if you think about it.
yeah. Oh, it is. And supposedly we're all supposed to be putting them in the same spot.
Supposedly.
Yeah, that's what I say. Supposedly, and I'm sure we do.
I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Man,
But
that's amazing.
no, I loved it. I love running sports drum. I loved running at Louisville. I used to love going to Whitesville,
Down,
Charlestown.
yeah.
Yeah, I can remember. I can remember going down and heck, I run Barstown on dirt. I remember
Bluegrass,
going.
yeah.
Yeah, bluegrass. I remember the first week we go down there. They're going to run figure eight. So we go out. And we run the oval, the oval, and we win the heat in the feature in the oval, and we win the heat in the feature in the eight. We just come in, change the air. He would send me right back out. We come back the second week, and then again, here's Danny Blackwell. He'd been
Yeah.
killing them down on the oval. I win the oval heat in the figure eight and the oval both again. When I come back the third week, they said you can't run in two classes. You got to pick one class
Oh.
or the other. And here he said, "Let's load her up and go home." Cry babies. So that's what we did. So I remember some of them times. That was pretty fun. But yeah, just a different time.
It is. And Calvin, I just want to thank you for taking time this week to talk to us. I know a lot of your fans are going to be tuned into this episode. And what do you want to say to all your fans out there?
Man, I appreciate it. Every one of them, even the haters. Somebody's got to. You got to be pulling for somebody. I've had a lot of supporters over the years. I couldn't do it without Jim French. He's been by me from the beginning.
Oh, yes.
Huey Darnell, I run a business and Jimmy runs a business. And back when, especially when we was a little younger, he did all the work. We couldn't have done it. I mean, I know many times on a Friday night, I'm trying to do payroll, get out the door, down 64, the road's blocked. I'm on 60. He's calling me. I mean, I'm rolling in at the last second, and I mean, I've known some horror stories, but it all seemed to work out at the end of the day. But and then in today's time, my son helps me a lot.
Oh, yes.
He's been running some dirt. He runs some crate dirt late models, and we've been doing that in our spare time. We got like 7 tracks an hour and a half away, so everything works out. We take off and go. I think he's wanting to race more than we actually can.
Sure.
Which that's what he needs. He needs seat time. Just needs seat time, and it's just a learning curve.
And that's the fun thing about social media these days. You get to see the post and keep up with all of these drivers that you didn't get to used to do. So, it's really cool to see how he's grown and how he's progressed out there in the world of dirt late model racing. But Calvin, man, we appreciate you so much. And man, I know I'm a big fan. I'm excited to see you back out there this weekend at Sportsdrome for the 60th running of the Midwestern, buddy.
Well, I appreciate you having me on, and hopefully we can present ourselves in a good fashion so we don't embarrass ourselves too much.
Hey, Wild Will Throwdown fans, Will Greenwell here. If you're into all types of racing like I am, then you need to check out the all-new Flag to Flag Media show each and every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Just go to Flag to Flag Media, that's flag, the number 2, Flag Media on Facebook and give them a like, or YouTube and subscribe. They will cover all of your dirt racing needs around the region. Flag to Flag Media. Check them out. And welcome back to the Wild Will Throwdown season number 5. Getting ready and set to go for this weekend's big events, and we'll talk about the upcoming just in a second. But Harold Adams, first, let's recap a little bit of the action where you and I were this past Saturday night at Sportstrom Speedway. It was a big one for the Bud Light Mania Twin 45s, and man, what an unexpected night that was, all capped off by Jacob Robertson picking up the overall win. Good for that young man. And ultimately earning you a point, obviously. But, man, that race was wild. I mean, the last lap, you had Durham and Johnson crashing the intersection.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know if I've ever really seen anything like that before, where two other cars are crashing, like, on the last lap, and it's like they weren't even, like, battling for position, so it really caught everybody off guard. I missed it. And but I tell you what, there was a heck of a battle in that second one. For like third, fourth, fifth, and sixth between all those guys there.
Oh,
Jacob
yeah.
Robertson, Mike Berry. I forget who all was involved in that, but man, I tell you what, they put on a heck of a show.
Oh, it was a great show all the way around, all night long at Sportstrom Speedway. Weather was phenomenal, and she's worked with us a lot. But let's talk about now the upcoming. Talking about Sportstrom Speedway. Yes, the weather's a little iffy. I know there's a chance here and there, but it looks like we're going to have 30-40% chance at night, which I think we're going to be fine this weekend. But Sportstrom Speedway, you have to talk about it. This episode's kind of dedicated to that. The longest running figure eight race in the country, the 60th annual Midwestern, and that's Friday and Saturday. Friday is just practice. It kicks off from 5 to 9 p.m. And then on Saturday, a big day of action. The Smack Talkers, you have them doing a little bit of figure eight racing, the Mini Outlaws in the longest race ever yet for them, 50 laps. You had the 50-lap Ford figure eight. Of course, you had the 75-lap Midwestern 60th annual. And Harold Adams, there's a lot of big buzz about this race this weekend.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's basically the biggest event, that Sportstrom's ever had, really. I mean, basically speaking. And so Mike's really put a lot of work in this, Mike and Tyler, and hopefully, like I said, the weather holds out, and looking for a good event this year on the Midwestern. Such a big thing, being the 60th one and everything, and a lot of the past champions going to be in there and everything. So that'll be pretty cool.
And I talked to Calvin today in that interview, and what you guys just heard, and we talked about how the new versus the old, and you have people like Robbie Greenwell, you have Kevin Brooks, you have Dalton Connor, you have, and I'm considering them the veterans, and Calvin even considers them the veterans, all 4 tunnies, and you have Calvin in there, you have Chad Sizemore coming in. So Dalton, I'm going to ask you now, this is pretty big. I mean, the newer guys coming in and racing with these veterans, how's it going to feel going to the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I know I feel good. I think I have a good shot. My car felt good yesterday testing at the Speedrome. So, and it just came off of a crossover hit, so I just wanted to make sure it's mechanically okay. But yeah, I mean, there's not many new guys coming into the sport, and I feel like the past two years or so, 2-3 years, the rookies have really came on strong. Me, Kevin Brooks, I bet Lavin Crain, I bet he's going to be pretty stout. That's my prediction for this weekend. I bet that Lavin Crain's going to be pretty decent.
Well, if he competes this weekend, it's kind of up in the air. And I always say, if you have as many, and Harold will agree with me, and Dalton, I know you will agree, if you get out there and test before the race and you have 14 to 16 cars, there is not a better race for you to get your feet wet in than this weekend.
No, absolutely not. And hell, my first race was the 90-minute in 2024. So my dad, he liked to just fed me to the wolves. That's basically what he did for me to get experience. But yeah, like I've said, there's no better race for Lavin to run or any newer guy. It's going to be a good show for sure. So any fan listening to this, you're gonna want to be there.
No doubt, and it's going to be an absolute stellar weekend. But don't forget, there's a lot of other races this weekend. The Indianapolis Speedrome is in action. They're going to present the 18th annual Brian Luttrell Memorial. That is for the Street Stock 62-lap and memorial for them. And I believe that's going to be figure eight. So catch your eye on that. Also, the front-wheel drive is going to take place. Junior Fast Karts, Senior Fast Karts, the INX Legend Series, the Ford Oval, Ford 8, Ford Young Guns, and the bike race is going to take place at the Speed Drum. So going to be a great weekend there. Brownstown Speedway up in Jackson County, Pro Late Models, the Super Stocks, Pure Stocks, Crown Vics, and Hornets. Paragon Speedway, if you like the dirt scene, again, 410 sprint cars, Super Stocks, Bombers, and Throwbacks. Also, if you're into the straight line racing, the Ohio Valley Dragway in West Point, Kentucky, going to have the bracket double points. Rock Castle Speedway on Saturday night. I think they moved that to Friday. Sport Mods, $1,500 to win, regular classes. Florence Speedway, Dollar Days. That's going to be the IMCA Ohio, Thunder, Race Saver Sprint Car Series. Plymouth Motor Speedway, going to be autograph night and regular classes as well. South Bend Motor Speedway, that's going to be a good one. 4 events only this season. Harold Adams, can you believe South Bend Speedway, or Motor Speedway, only 4, but they've came back this year, and the Street Stocks and Mechanical Mayhem Night of Destruction is this weekend. But I know you and I, that's one of our favorite short tracks in Indiana.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun up there when we went up there. It was really a shame when they shut it down, so I'm glad to hear they're up and running again, so maybe we can get back up there again sometime soon.
No doubt. I know you and I were looking at our schedules today, talking about Plymouth. And July in that area, 17th, I think we're actually going to be able to make it up there if that holds and the weather is nice. So I'm crossing my fingers because Plymouth, basically almost the same concept as South Bend. But also Cedar Ridge Speedway down in Morgantown, Kentucky, Friday night. That's going to be a big one. They're going to have racing for all their regular classes. Anderson Speedway going to have Saturday night racing, late model, street stocks, and front-wheel drives. Also, Mount Lawn, their season opener is this week. Can you believe that, Dalton? Rain out, rain out, rain out, and they're finally getting their season opener.
Yeah. Hopefully, the rain holds off again because I feel like they always start later than everybody else around here. Also, so it's crazy that they haven't even ran a race, but hopefully it's a good showing for them.
Well, and if you're complaining about, well, why couldn't they have had that one day? Whether it was raining tons the week before. If you've been to their pit area and you've seen what's around them, you know why they had to cancel with the grounds being wet and all nasty. So we look forward to seeing them and how many cars they get there to support Mount Lawn. But gentlemen, also, there's another quick note that I want to make here that this is pretty big, and it broke with Sportstrom Speedway's Midwestern, that not only is the Midwestern the longest running figure 8 race, and we're going to have that this weekend, but this is also going to be a televised event on Speedrome.tv, the affiliate at the Indianapolis Speedrome. I want to thank Kevin Garrigus and the gang, Kurt and all they do for bringing it down. I know they're going to have a few extra mics for us on the broadcast. It'd be Scott and I, myself, and Brandon Taylor. So we're very excited about that. But that's pretty big for Sportstrom, Harold Adams, to have it on streaming pay-per-view.
Yeah, it is a big deal. It's the first time they've tried something like this, and a lot of the people, in the outlaw world are always interested in outlaws, especially when they travel around, and it's such a big race too. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of people from Indy too that, doesn't like to travel but would like to keep up, and they'll probably end up purchasing that. So that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt. And just an FYI for your monthly subscriptioners, that is not included. That's just a buy-alone pay-per-view. And Dalton, I know you're excited. I know a lot of your fans and stuff that can't make it will be watching at home.
Yeah. I wish the Sports Room would put their own deal on weekly because I know I tune in. I always, no matter where I'm racing, Salem, Anderson, it don't matter. I always try and tune in to watch the races and see what drama or see what good racing is going down. So I wish Sportstrom had their own TV thing, but it'll be a really good race to watch back or sit there and watch live. So yeah, if you can't make it to Sportstrom this weekend, tune in to Speedroom TV, and I'm sure we'll put on some good racing.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's going to be a great weekend, but man, guys, what a show today. Man, Calvin Crain's interview, just an absolute epic interview. And did you guys know a stat that he told me and that I got told earlier today too? That Calvin Crain today still is the only driver with an outlaw win at his age. He is the oldest outlaw figure 8 driver to date.
Well, hell, how old is he?
I don't know how old he is, but I just know he's the oldest outlaw figure 8 driver.
Well, let's try and break that record. I'm going to put Harold in my car for the Midwestern this weekend. We're going to see if he can get it done.
Good, Harold, because
I think he's older than me, though. I think he's older than me, so I don't think that's going to work. So,
hey, Harold can drive your car because Harold in our points chase picked you to win this weekend.
Oh, well, hell yeah, Harold.
There you go. Put a little pressure on.
And I took the
Yeah,
marksman,
little
Mark
pressure.
Tunney. So, yeah, you know. How could you bet against him?
Boo.
Yeah, see?
Wrong button there, Will.
Hey, they're behind me. I got a fan club back here today, okay? This ain't no buttons on this thing. But
Unless you pay them people.
quite a penny. But hey, guys, talk about a great show today. We're going to hit our white flag final thoughts of the day. Harold Adams, what's your final thoughts going into the Midwestern this weekend?
Hey, I'm ready for some figure eight racing. That's all we're going to see at Sports Drum. So come on out. Like I say, biggest event they've ever had. Want to see everybody support it, in this area that's involved in figure eight racing or wanting to support a local track. This is a perfect time to do it. So do that. If not, if you can't make it, hey, speedrum.tv will have it on for you.
No doubt about it. And Dalton Connor, what about you?
Hopefully me and Harold are going to collect a big check at the end of the weekend and prove Will Greenwell wrong over here. That's my final thought.
Okay. Yeah, well.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, there you go. We won't even touch on that in my final thoughts. All right, so my final thoughts of the week. Here we are, another week of racing gone. I remember sitting back saying, we got 1 month to racing. We got 2 weeks to racing. We got 1 week to racing. Now we're halfway through the month of May, and we've picked up all kinds of racing. So, man, no matter where you go, support your local short track. I say that every week, but there's a lot of truth to that statement. This weekend, the 60th annual Midwestern, it is now the longest running figure eight race in history. Out of all of the figure eight tracks, we get to be blessed to call it home here at Sports Drum Speedway. Well, as far as I'm concerned, my name is Will Greenwell, and I will see you around the turn.